Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Thank you for getting Kirtan ready. Thank you. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. We don't want to stop. Can you please, give me one of these small Japa guides? Hare Ram, Hare. Sorry. Ram, Ram. Thank you. Do we have a wireless microphone? Because we have. Okay, okay. My dear everyone, I don't really know how should I. Is this this is important, right? Oh. Maybe you can just bring the thing over to me. This is for the recording, right?
Yeah, this is for the live stream.
This is for the live stream. Just, I would suggest remove this table and bring the thing over to me. Then I can take care of the live stream. Okay. This blue table, please. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to first of all welcome all of you affectionately to the last workshop which we will have. We will have a little bit at the end called taking the retreat home, or collecting your jewels, if you so want. Here, in this workshop, I would very much love to show you a little bit how you might breathe new life into your japa. I think we all know that controlling the mind at times is difficult. We seem to be overwhelmed by circumstances, so that it is not very easy for us to control the mind. But there are a few steps, and I would like to show this in this workshop, that you can do by which you show Krishna that you are trying, and then Krishna will respond to you. Prabhupada once said, revival of our dormant love of Godhead does not depend on the mechanical system of hearing and chanting. It's not by any technique that you can develop love of Godhead. But this revival of our dormant affection is solely and wholly dependent on the causeless mercy of the Lord. When the Lord is fully satisfied with the sincere efforts of the devotee, he may endow him with his loving transcendental service. So if he sees that you make an effort, Krishna responds. And I would like to introduce to you an effort which comes really from the yoga tradition, but which is very useful for us in controlling our mind. I will have to get up a little bit, and those live streamers have to be a little bit patient with me. See, obviously, the goal of good japa is to have fixed in the center of the heart. Let me make a point here. Looks a little like a Srivatsa lock, but I will do it like this. This would be the full samadhi. In Sanskrit it is called ekagra. The attention is focused on one point to the exclusion of anything else. Maybe you had a little bit in the rose garden, this experience where you were, for a moment at least, fully focused in the chanting of the holy name. Was this sometimes there? But then it goes. So, instead of letting the mind wander at that time like a horse which gives up the race the race course and just go down. I do American word. You give the mind a little territory in which it can be. This territory could be, for instance, prayer. You read a prayer or you say a prayer. So the mind, you don't try to focus it any longer just on Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, and so on. But you are there with a prayer. You turn to Krishna in a prayerful way. If that is still too restrictive, there are other things. There's another arena. I was never good at drawing, but I will try. It looks a little like the Eye of China. You can, for instance, do something like a Govardhan Parikram. You can. The idea here is that instead of just letting the mind go haywire, all over the place, you give it places that are still sattvic, that are still Krishna consciousness, the conscious, that are still, let me say, within the realm of turning to Krishna. And then, if it is, for instance, in prayer, in a prayerful mood, then you find the mind easily returning to the center of concentration. Or, I have given you something which many devotees do. They follow this 8th verse of the Upanishamrita, that they go in their minds to Vrindaban down and stay, so to say, remember maybe sitting at Govardhan, or remember something favorable. And you will see, by the power of either this outer circle or the inner circle, the mind tends to, after some time, go again and come again back on the target. So I would like to try this with you, to give you a little experience how to bring the mind and spiritualize the mind. Are you ready?
Yes. Yes.
I would have done it anyway. Did you bring your bead back?
Yes.
I want to see, is Nadia Mani? Nadia Mani is here, I see you. Also, there is the small running around. Have you understood? Oh, sorry. Thank you. Have you understood what I wanted to show?
Yes.
You? Good. But let's practice this. Are you ready, Gurumani? Yes? Good. What we will do is, we will do Japa with closed eyes to avoid the outer distractions. And then I will ask you a question after maybe 7 minutes. I can tell you the question now. And then we will do a centering exercise which will bring you hopefully towards the point of full absorption. I need my vivek, it is here. It's here. Actually, I will first, you can first chant with open eyes. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadara Vasari Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama. Sit properly. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. Very good. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama. Stay with each syllable. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Now we will continue to go a little bit more difficult. Each one please chant on their own and try to maintain the focus on each syllable. Try to remain in the Japa Samadhi, so to say, the full focus. You will see something wonderful will happen. So each one of us, we can chant together the Panchatattva Mahamantra, and then we go on our own. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Vivasati Gauraktamena. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Try your best. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, those who have not yet done so, I request now everyone to close their eyes, and your task is to stay with your mind on each single syllable of the holy name as long as possible. Whenever you catch the horse of your mind galloping away somewhere, no problem, bring it back to each syllable. And then I will ask you a question, and I request you to remain with closed eyes when I ask the question, because you will have to show up with the hand so that I get an understanding what to do with you. Yes? It is absolutely safe. I will remain seated on this seat and not do anything like flying in the room or whatever. So, good. Closed eyes, each syllable, focus. When you lose the focus, my dear devotees, simple method, just go to the first hari of each new mantra, and after some time, slip, you are in the whole mantra. Good. Let us start. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Krishna. Please keep your eyes closed. May I ask the assembly of devotees, who of you has the feeling that they had become distracted? Please raise your arm. Remain with your eyes closed. There's a reason. It's just I need to know who of you became distracted from chanting. I thank you very much. Please put down your arm, and we will now listen to a prayer and afterwards chant. This prayer is in the category of Vigyapti and entreaty. O mind, how will you ultimately take shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Radha Krishna? I have had the desire to take shelter of those lotus feet since time immemorial. But up till now, this wretched servant is simply waiting. O Radhe, O Krishna Chandra, life and soul of the devotees, please bestow upon this miserable person Bhakti to you. Please see this restless current of life flows. It runs into the ocean of time. The days that have gone will not come again. Alas, Krishna, what am I to do now? Please, in the end, give me a perfected spiritual body within the transcendental abode of Vrindaban and bestow upon me in charity the nectar of service to you. After making me drink prema and thus become spiritually intoxicated, hear me. Say your glories. Please chant again. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Please keep your eyes closed and listen again. O mind, how will you ultimately take shelter at the lotus feet of Shri Radha Krishna? I have had this desire since time immemorial, but up till now, this wretched servant is still waiting. Please continue to chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram. You are the friends of the fallen. I know who you are, my masters. You are indeed the very ocean of kindness. But I am so unfortunate and exceedingly foolish. I do not understand even an iota of bhakti. O my masters, by virtue of your greatness, take my soul and make me your own, thereby vanquishing my material sufferings. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna. So what was this all about? When we chant, we want to be here. Single-mindedness, a single focus. It's called ekagragata. Eka means one, Grata means focused, fixed. But alas, it's not always possible. So we take some devotional, some Krishna conscious thought and let our mind engage with this. For instance, prayer, so powerful. And all of a sudden, as we sing or say the prayer, our mind gravitates no longer to football, Messi and Ronaldo. No, it will gravitate towards the center, towards Krishna. May I ask you, have you experienced that in your mind? Who has experienced this? Wow, that's good. More than I thought. I admit that such devotional exercises are not always possible when the stomach is digesting an overload of most beautiful prasadam. Nor is it possible when we are in a mood of spiritual unwillingness, or if we are still in our comfort zone and think everything is all right, Maharaj. My neighbor also rides a dead horse, so why should I complain to be sitting on a dead horse? Sorry, there is a joke. Two red Indians were, that's not politically correct, two Native Americans were riding on a horse, were each riding on a Mustang, and one Mustang died. So the other Native American said to the one who was sitting on the dead Mustang, "You need an expert whip." He tried with the whip. Then the other rider said, "This seems to not work. Let's get a horse coach." Then the horse coach came and did his coaching thing. It did not work. Finally, the rider who was sitting on the dead horse said, "It's not so bad after all. My neighbor also sits on a dead horse." My dear devotees, this is what we often try when it comes to our japa. Our first response is, let's get some technique, some whip that whips us into a better action. Doesn't work. Then we go to Sacinandana Swami's, or even better, Mahatma Prabhu's Japa workshop, and so much coaching is there, and still it doesn't work. Then we arrive in our excuse zone. Yes, my japa stinks, but also the japa of this GBC man stinks. So I can't be so bad off. Trying to speak in a language that is empowering today. No, you are our Japa GBC. You are. I'm just trying to say something which is relatable to modern minds. My dear devotees, if you want to do something for your spiritual betterment, you need to come out of the unwilling zone and try to connect with Krishna. We will do this now in Kirtan, but again, I would like to approach you with this method. This morning we were speaking about priming. Do you remember? The Indian pump? It doesn't work. It makes only very ill sounds, but it does not draw water. Then, what do? You bring water from an outside source, maybe from a baldi, a bucket, and sometimes it's enough to take just a lota and to pour there where that slit is at the top of the pump. You pour it in, and then the pump develops, this is a new word I learned,
just for you, before I came to America, then the pump develops traction. And it pulls the water up from the groundwater level. So very often in our japa, we lack bhakti, and our bhakti is dry. So our japa is dry and arid. We feel like in the Gobi Desert, or if you like Europe, the Sahara Desert, or the desert of Minnesota. And you are not able to really access the japa, access bhakti through your japa. What to do? You bring bhakti from an outside source. I've requested Nadia Mani to sing now, and before she will start, I would like to bring some bhakti from an outside source into your personal pump. It is a reading from the 4th canto of the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada writes, Queen Shuniti advised her son that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Britya Vatsala, which indicates that he is very kind to his devotees. Shuniti, the mother, said to Dhruva, "You came to me crying, having been insulted by your stepmother, but I am unable to do any good for you. However, Krishna is so kind to his devotees that if you go to him, then the combined kindness of millions of mothers like me will be surpassed by his affectionate and tender dealings. When everyone else fails to mitigate one's misery, Krishna is able to help the devotees."
Everybody together. All together. One more time.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Thank you very much. Nadia, thank you so very much. We only have a few more minutes for this session. I feel there's something that needs to be explained. Do you notice how nice the Kirtan goes now for all of us? It just needs a little spark now, and then you're fully absorbed in the Kirtan. And I think one great reason, or big part of this, is that we are polishing our heart here in this retreat. I would like to just briefly speak about Japa and Kirtan. When I became more interested in Kirtan, I found out that many of our devotees appreciate Kirtan very much, whereas Japa remains a challenge in their own private practice. And there is a reason, which Sacinandana Swami explains so clearly that I think you will see the logic of his words. He says, to chant the holy names of Krishna in Japa, you actually need a pure heart. A heart which is free from all these distractions. However, in Kirtan, you do not need as a prerequisite a pure heart, because Kirtan purifies the heart. Kirtan, in other words, gives you the qualification which you need to sit or to be with Krishna's holy name. For Japa, this is the qualification. You need a pure heart, but if you don't have it, Japa is very difficult. Kirtan, you don't need, I mean, it's good if you have a pure heart, but it's not a prerequisite. Everyone can start Kirtan. That's why we do Naga Sankirtan. We go out into the town. We and sing for everyone to join us. We don't do Naga Japa. You smile. This doesn't, because so then why do we have this regulation 16 rounds without offenses? Why, in order to become an initiated member of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, you have to say 16 rounds? Couldn't you just engage 2 hours a day in Kirtan, for instance? You know, have maybe a good recording with you, and then sing along with a Kirtan singer at home, or learn an instrument and do Kirtan on your own. No? Why this? Please listen attentively. In Kirtan, we help each other very much. You know, our neighbor chants, on the right side, on the front side, on the back side, on the left side. Sometimes we may even have our knee on our neighbor, so it comes from downside, the Kirtan, and that's really full from upside.
you're surrounded by the holy name, and that, of course, helps you tremendously. In Japa, you are alone, by yourself. But it is this situation which forces you to make that one relationship with Krishna. If you don't, then your japa will remain mechanically and not so ecstatic. And it is this austerity, if you so want, this necessity, if you so want, which helps you to become independent, or let us give a nice English word, a self-reliant devotee. You are not dependent on others. You are a devotee on your own. And this needs to be trained. But you might have seen there is an intrinsic relationship between japa. Japa helps you to do good kirtan. Good kirtan, again, helps you to do good japa. You know everything. Yes. They are supporting each other, because even in kirtan, you need to come eventually to the stage where you sing for Krishna and for Krishna only. I would like to see, let me just secretly look. Oh, we are almost done, but I promised to try to answer some question. Let me end this retreat with a summary of this. I think you understood. When it's difficult to focus the mind, you create a good devotional atmosphere for the mind by reading a prayer, and then it's easier for the mind to come here to this point of focus. This chanting a prayer acts as, remember the word? Priming, yes, you know, priming, yes. It is, you bring something from the outside, in this case a prayer, or we read from the Bhagavatam, that is a little bit more outside. And this itself will get into your heart and will prime you so that you can do kirtan. This was the workshop. What else is there to say? Yes, Prabhupada says it so nice. As you chant the Hare Krishna mantra, you will realize that gradually you are advancing to meet Krishna face to face. That is possible. So I want to encourage you, either singing in japa and singing in kirtan, I wanted to say, or say japa. Bring the two together in your practice, and do not be discouraged. Be encouraged, because you're on your way. You're on your way, and then you meet Krishna face to face. I would like to leave you with an Arabian proverb. It's not that the journey is so difficult because it is so long. No, that is not the reason why the journey is so difficult. The journey is so difficult because of the pebble in the shoe. You know. So whatever is your pebble, your obstacle in your japa, it will go away with this very simple method of priming yourself by allowing your mind to roam, but into a devotional area. Don't allow your mind to escape to something which is not encouraging you in your spiritual life during the japa period. Good. Thank you very much for participating, and also thank you, Nadia Mani. I'm really at a loss here because we have so many talented kirtan devotees, and I'm always trying to say, okay, he or she did not yet sing, so let us incorporate this devotee here, or incorporate is maybe not the word, let us request the devotee here. There's one devotee who is still missing on the list. It is Amala Harinam, and I request him tomorrow to join us. Is he still here? Is he? He's with the children and singing with the children, or worrying with the children, not worrying, taking care. Good. So are there any questions which we can address in 15 minutes? I see here is a question. Yes. We get a microphone for you, then we can hear.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Maharaj, I understand the point of prayer. I can sing prayers if my mind is going here and there to bring the mind back to the point, ekagra. But can you please give me some practical applications of how to use the outer one, government parikrama?
Well, this was just a suggestion. You can also take Bhagavatam. This is what I do very much when even prayer doesn't work. Then I read the Bhagavatam, and for some amount of time, you can feel it when it's there. And then I can chant in a devotional frame of mind. But there are other things. Sometimes, my dear devotees, it may help you to seek the counsel of someone who is, to just have a spiritual talk. Maybe not even japa related, just life related in Krishna consciousness. That, of course, you can't really do. Well, if there is someone else with you doing japa, you can say, Sacinandana Swami said we should have the outer circle. My mind is galloping, can we talk? That won't work, I think. Be creative, find what you can put here. I go to Govardhan because we built a retreat center there. I know many places. I know not all the places. Who can say he knows all the places? Thank you very much. Other question, Gauravani Prabhu. Yes, we will give you a microphone so that it's audible for everyone. Maybe Harisham, you can be the microphone man. Mm-hmm.
So just to understand in a practical way, so we can maybe have some prayers that we'd like to chant, maybe written in front of us. That if we find our mind wandering, we can pick up the paper and we can read the prayers.
Exactly. You are doing your japa, then you see, oops, it's going so. Then you have some prayers. I recommend very much the Sharanagati prayers by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, or in the little handout which you have, Prabhupada recommends here. One should be very humble and meek to offer one's desires and chant prayers composed in glorification of the holy name, such as Ayi Mukta Kulaya Upashyamanam and Nivritta Tasha Upagiyamanat. One should chant such prayers to become free from offenses at the lotus feet of the holy name. See, it's because of these obstacles that we don't chant with taste. And these prayers are given here. They're printed out for your reading reference, and like this. Mm-hmm. Yes. There is, in fact, a method for those of you who like to go further in your spiritual life. It's called the Bhakti Rasayana shlokas. These are verses which come at the very end of Brihad Bhagavatamrita. And there's a very old tradition where you chant and then you stop your japa and chant read one of these prayers, and then you get a priming, you get water in your palm, and then you chant in that, infused with that mood, and then after some time you may lose it again or not lose it, and you go to the next verse. Then there is a very advanced prayer, it's not yet very advanced, but quite advanced. You read a compilation of verses which describe the pastimes of Krishna, and as you chant in the awareness of this pastime, and sometimes the holy name just makes whoop and brings you right into the pastime. But this is
as I said, you can go unlimitedly deep, and there's something else and something else. But for now, I would say for here, let us be simple. Yes, chant, then read some prayers. You will find, Gauravani, that some prayers bring you right into the space, whereas others maybe don't do that for you. No? So find this. Thank you. Good. Vorka is there. Sachi, yeah, but short, no? Short, very precisely formulated, like you always do.
Maharaj, thank you so much. As a child, my mother would say her rosaries, and then she would pray, say more rosaries for all the people that she knew that was sick and everything. And so, because there's so much hardship and sickness around us, I've been saying extra rounds for a couple of people, so I'm just wondering if it's bona fide, if you can offer the fruits of your japa for the benefit of others.
Yeah.
Either within the 16 or after you're finished
After
with
that.
16.
Sachi-Devi, it is a wonderful sentiment. And by all means, chant more rounds, but you can't offer them for others. Let me give you an example, which I heard from one god brother. Yes, he had studied this subject, and he told of the rich man who took a coolie means a carrier of things, with him to circumambulate Mountain Kailash. Wait a minute, he took him with him to Mountain Kailash. Then came the difficult thing. You have to go up, and it's 5,600 meters high, and then there is the Gauri Kund. It's the Kund of Parvati, of Gauri. So he said to his coolie, you please take a bath in this Gauri Kund for me. It's so cold, you have no idea. So he sent his coolie down, thinking, if this man does a bath and gives it for me, I give him a few rupees afterwards, then the benefit is for me. It doesn't work. The benefit is for the coolie, the Sherpa. So anyone who chants, it is for him. But what you can do, Sachi, is to pray prayers that are for the welfare of the world. There's this prayer, Sukhino Bhavantu. What was it? Huh? Yes, yeah, there are prayers. I always pray, Svastyastu Vishvasya Kala Prasidatam. It's the prayer of our Prahlad Maharaj for the welfare of all living beings. That you can do. And you can sit down, you can think, as you, after you're chanting, you can sit down and you can think first of all of those who are near and dear ones, dear. Then you widen the circle. You think of those who are neutral, maybe like the cashier in Walmart, neutral people. And then you can think of the people who are suffering. And if you are really strong, you can even think of those who act in this life in an inimical way. What is the word? Inimical way to you. But this is a high master class, So you can pray for the benefit of others. But the chanting, you cannot say, this round is for Cambodia. And this round is for the Ukraine also. That is not done or not heard. Yeah, pray in another way, yes. Hare Krishna. So, let me see, secretly, we have time for one more question. I saw Walker, yes, and then we will end.
I was just curious, Maharaj, when dealing with the mind during japa, is it better to try to engage it by thinking of Krishna's pastimes, or is it better to try to slip past past it, I guess, by only hearing.
I would recommend to you, when you chant, listen to your chanting. Then, when you see the mind is doing all kinds of excursions, going to different places, and you can't seem to not get hold of it, say some prayer, and then return to chanting and listening. That is on your level, on your a very nice young bhakta. That is the best for you. We have one more. Kirtan Premi. Where is the microphone? Wow, I'm really short here. I mean, really brief. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, you just said about difference of, not difference, but Kirtan and Japa. People sometimes tend to do Japa during Kirtan, and they do, and many times people do Japa and listen to Kirtan as background music. So what is your take on that?
I must say, I think it's a little uninteresting what is my take, but I will say, I remember there is one Russian devotee, you may know him, he's really enthusiastic for Kirtan. His name is now Adi Rasa. He used to be known as Aditya Dukkaha. No? You have heard about him? You met him maybe? He's really into Kirtan. I mean, hours and hours and hours without stop. He really loves Kirtan. And he once gave a lecture which I found, he spoke from his heart. He said, when Krishna is glorified with the devotees, then we should stop everything and run to this place and participate. When you sit where there is this hymn or glorification of Kirtan going on, and you go like, it really does, it doesn't even look right, it doesn't feel right, it doesn't seem right, it is not right, it is wrong and wrong and wrong. He said like this, and I thought, okay, because sometimes I also have done this, you know, it's Mayapur Kirtan Mela, and I have to be there. If I'm not there, I give the wrong example. Okay, I'm here, but what is with my rounds? And then I'm there. Then I started to find a compromise. When the Kirtan leader sings, I'm going Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. And when it's my turn, the chorus, you know, when the chorus... and then also I felt, you know from the heart, it is immature. So yes, or vice versa, you do Japa and you need some background music, you know, okay, Michael Jackson is not good enough, let me use, I'm saying humorously, but Kirtan, you must understand, Kirtan is for Krishna. The syllable is Kirt, it means to glorify. Kirtan is a glorification where and when devotees come together, and this is the preferred form of Kirtan, it's called Sankirtan, all together glorify.